In the last guideline video for our instruction program review cycle for 2022, we're going to look at section 4, the impacts on the program section, and also go over the process for resource requests that are related to this. Just as a reminder, if you need to access the eLumen site, you can come into the Merced College website, click on Faculty and Staff, and then just come down here to the eLumen link that is underneath that login, and you should be able to log in from there. All right, I am going to go in and reset my role to faculty here, and again we want to go into the strategic planning, but for this last section, because we are going to be looking at the resource requests, I do need to make sure that I am set over to my area coordinator role, because that will give me access to these tools. And again, go from strategic planning into the initiative section. And for this year, you can scroll down, but notice I'm in Area 1, and I want to make sure that I'm just going to pull up the biology one, make it a little bit easier. You can see the list gets a little bit shorter when you do select not only your role, but also your location or where you are in the organization. So I'll pull up my standard biology program review that I'm using for this. And again, you can float your section there and go through the different parts by just going to the sections there. And we'll go down to the program trends, where we have in our previous video, and then the last part of it is the impacts on the program. And you can see this is where we want to look at various factors that might be playing a role in student success and what's going on there. So there's a pretty big set of instructions here that you can go over, and again, if you want to take those instructions and bring them down there. So if we go through this, again, we are looking at various things that are affecting student success. So you can see we're asking some questions about how the department is using the resources that were requested in previous years. Just sort of a follow-up to see what's going on with the money that is being given by the college to the different programs, to see what impact that's having on student success. We also would like to take a look at any changes that have gone on, and for this year's round of program reviews, obviously one of the big external changes that have had an impact on all the programs is COVID, and so you can definitely have some comments going on there that you can take a look at. But also, we would like to find out if there is something from the Learning Resource Center that your students would benefit. So again, if you go into this section and look at, there is a specific journal or a specific set of books, this is where you can provide some feedback for the librarian so that they will have a little guidance in what the various programs are looking for out there. So definitely, if you can pull some resources out for them, that would benefit them and hopefully your students. And then again, we have this final sort of bucket question where if there's anything else that you think should be in this strategic initiative document, to go ahead and fill out this section. But I did want to sort of go through that process again of what we saw before, is this idea of our goals and objectives. And again, you can see that this particular one, I just pulled out a single one in the previous video and showed how you can link this to various different outcomes that are out there. So again, you can go in here and make your changes. And this one I just linked, purchase new microscopes, is the action that is going to be related to our supply needs due to increasing enrollment. So that's our goal there. This is where we want to be, and this is one of the steps that we would take in order to reach that ultimate goal of addressing these supply needs and equipment due to increasing enrollment. I've linked it up to these two outcomes, and again, you can go in and make modifications. Again, if you do not have the area coordinator role, you cannot access this menu, but if you want to, you can add or take away things, just clicking it to the sides, and our selected ones are going to be up there on the top, and they're kind of covered by that eLumen thing that's right in the way there. So I'm just going to leave those as they are there and not make changes, but again, we want to add resource requests. So here I just put down a little microscope listed under equipment, and then the amount. So if I save this action, and notice it is coming out as not met there. I can click on save, and it saved it there. And again, you verify that you have your goals that are linked to this section, and those goals came from that other section within Illumin. It's not built into the program review, so do make sure that you update your goals separately like I showed in the previous video. And those goals that are linked to this are also over here where we have that flag is the goal, and then the action that's associated with that is the arrow. So again, just look at this arrow is pointing to the flag saying, hey, in order to reach this target, our flag, we need to go ahead and complete these here. If we go all the way up to the very top here, you can see that we do have two buttons that are kind of hidden way up here in the top. And if I click on the budget category, you're not really going to see anything in there. We still haven't worked out the dynamics for the budget, so don't worry about that. But if we do come down here, and this is kind of weird, it's right next to the sections where you have that floating menu that goes on the top there. There is this other weird little thing called management, and if you click on budget management, now you can see that that resource that I just put in here is going to appear on the top of the program review. And again, you can see there's no real budget category, so don't worry about that stuff. Eventually, the hope is that we could use this process to indicate whether or not the resources that were requested had been approved or rejected. If it's approved, it would turn green. If it was rejected, you would see that. But right now, we aren't using this tool. And instead, what we are asking people to do is to please try and use an Excel spreadsheet, because that seems to be working better for our processes, because we are limited in terms of the amount of information that we can collect here within Illumin. Where can I go to get the files to make my resource requests? Well, if we go back over to the Merced College Assessment Overview site and work your way down right here, this is the video that I'm literally making right now, so this will be updated right here, but we do have this link for the resource allocation spreadsheet. So you can download this Excel spreadsheet from the Merced College website, and notice you will need to enable editing in order to make it functional there. And this is hopefully something that you have seen previously. If we go across just sort of looking at the different things that we have here, you can indicate your department ranking in the first column here, and then when all of those department resource requests are combined, we do rank it at the area level. So this is the faculty leads and the deans will go through there. Once all of the areas have ranked their resource requests, those go on to IMPC, where a subcommittee goes in and ranks everything there. In this fourth column, column D, we are asking you to go in and indicate really what type of resource requests that you're looking for. So is it equipment, supplies, hourly contract, travel, software, maintenance, or contingency fund? And so you're just going to be indicating that in column D. Your item and the vendor are going to go in columns E and F respectively. If you do have quantity or hours, please make sure to do that, because that will have an effect on the cost when you factor in the number of units that you're getting. Hopefully the spreadsheet will continue to keep a running subtotal cost right here. And again, make sure that you indicate all of the associated costs, so things like taxes and that sort of stuff. You can see our running total is coming over here, and then again we want to try and make sure that we do get our specific discipline, so your program, not the area there. If you want to, you can go in and indicate the links that are being made for these. So is this linked up to an accreditation standard? Is it linked to an institutional SLO? Is it an item that is in the program review? And this is something that the deans will also be filling out. If you need to, you can also link it to a program student learning outcome that is out there. IMPC also appreciates it if we can get some additional information on whether or not this is something related to a critical program need, meaning the program won't be able to continue in the absence of funding for this resource, and also is it a safety need. We want to make sure that we do focus on safety for our students there. Column U right here is actually a really important one, and this is where IMPC really relies on this to make sure that you get some sort of explanation on the importance of this object. So again, this is something that we want to get information here. If you can, also be as specific as possible on who is looking for this and who is submitting the request. So if the subcommittee does have any questions about it, we know directly who to go to get more information about that. So hopefully filling out this Excel spreadsheet with your resource allocation request isn't too much of a burden. Again, this is something that we're still trying to work out the dynamics of getting it to work in eLumen, and right now we just need some of this extra information like that last one over there with the comments and submitted by that we aren't getting out of eLumen because their template is a little bit limited in what information can actually be pulled out of there. And again, this might change in the future because eLumen is actively making changes based on feedback they're getting from their users. And so they've been doing that for probably about 6 to 8 months this year, making some small changes that users have requested to basically increase the functionality of their program. So back in the template for eLumen, if you do finish filling out that Excel spreadsheet, you can save it linked to your eLumen program review, or you can send it directly to the program review coordinator. But I did just want to point out that if you do save it, please make sure to save that file with the program name included in the title. And also, if you wanted to, you could put the year, so we make sure that these are all kept in the same place. But if you need to, you can also upload various files that would be linked to your program review. So you can see that you can just drag or drop your files, and then that Excel spreadsheet that you filled out with your resource request would be stored associated with your program review here. You can do this for pretty much all of these text fields. You can see that they do all have the ability to put images in there. You can make tables, you can do your symbols, and you can also change the size of the font that you're using right there if you want to make an emphasis. But I did want to just show that you can upload various files and include them and link them to your program review here. So at the end of this process, notice there is this extra little thing. You can save all of these text fields as a draft, but when you are finished writing them, if you click on Publish, and you can do it for the individual sections here, at the bottom of each section or at the very top, you can just go up to Publish All. So I'll go all the way up to the top, and you can see that we have our Publish All. And then at the bottom of each of the sections, you do have the ability to cancel your changes, save drafts, or publish it. And this is something that the cats and deans will rely on. Once you're finished, if you click on Publish All, they'll know that you have finished your submission there, and they can go in and, just so you can see, they can make comments on this section, and these comments do not appear in the final version. So they can indicate whether or not that section has been rejected or approved. I'm just going to cancel that, and then you can go in and make any modifications that are requested to finish off the process. In this last video, we went over the last step in the strategic initiative template there for program review and looked at the impacts on the program and our resource request. If you do have any questions or need some help when you're going through this process, please don't hesitate to contact Edward Modafferi, the program review coordinator for instruction at Merced College, and I will attempt to provide the assistance so that we can get this process finished. And remember, when we're looking at this, really our goal with program review is to do sort of a self-examination and to think about how you're doing in your program and what changes you could possibly make that could improve student success.